Hi and welcome, and thank you for tuning in to this week's upload. So it's going to carry on from last week's compassion meditation. Today is gearing more towards that self-compassion, how we cultivate compassion and then also apply that towards ourselves. As last week I mentioned how it's quite habitual, quite common that we know how to give to others, we know how to be compassionate to others, to be compassionate towards our loved ones, towards even strangers, but then towards ourselves, how are we treating ourselves? And learning compassion for me has been a massive journey of just awareness of my critical mind, awareness of what I'm judging. So just finding that awareness of what it is that you tell yourself. Are they kind? Would you say that to a loved one? So pretty much following very similar meditation as last week. We were just adding on another exercise. So feel free to stay for that. Feel free to just practice what we did last week. Entirely up to you. Just find a space where you can relax. Find a space where you can cultivate that compassion. And if that's where you're at today, stay there. But if you can, we're going to cultivate that compassion towards ourselves. Just finding that awareness, being mindful, noticing maybe what we're telling ourselves, noticing how it feels within our body. And if we can cultivate that compassion just to soothe ourselves like we would a loved one. So when you're ready, we'll find a comfortable seat, lying down wherever you feel comfortable. Nice. So as we come to settle into our meditation, just taking our arrival with our body scan. So noticing first how you feel today, physically, mentally, emotionally. How are you feeling right now? And in this space, just starting to notice the physical contact that we have with our supports, whether that's seated, whether that's lying down on the ground or on our bed. See if we can just bring awareness to each body part and the intention to relax into those body parts. So our feet and our legs. The next breath out, can we maybe just sink hips, letting go, relaxing legs and relaxing feet. And then just starting to bring our awareness through to the torso, unraveling back, softening belly and softening chest. Your next exhale, can we just let go of tension held in our shoulders, be that physical, be that any burdens or responsibilities that you feel that you're holding on to today. Even if it's just for now, letting that go to create a space of surrender and a space to be here. Relaxing the arms down to the fingertips. Can we let go of the head? So even seated, just finding that relaxation through the neck, the throat. Can we allow the head to rest into the ground if we're lay down? Can we just soften through the face, letting go of jaw? If you haven't already, we're closing down the eyes, softening those eyelids. Unraveling the forehead from that space in between the eyebrows. As we settle in here physically, just to be here with our body, allowing the space of letting go. And maybe just checking in with our breath, noticing how our breath feels. Can we maybe breathe in a little longer? Can we a little deeper? Can we breathe out a little longer? Signaling to our body that we're here to rest. Signaling to our nervous system that we're here to relax, rest and digest, process. If we can, through this practice, as we connect to our sensations and our feelings, the experience part of our brain, we start to maybe switch off from our critical, our intellectual thinking side of our brain, so that we can just experience whatever this space just to be as it is, so that we can listen to be aware. Nice, and as we watch the breath, maybe just noticing the rise, the gentle relaxation of the belly and the chest. Noticing our heart space area. And if it feels comfortable to you, you might just start to place a hand or both hands onto your chest, onto your heart space area. Giving ourselves that soothing, compassionate touch. Feeling our breath. Drinking in each inhale. And just breathing out. Maybe a sense of gratitude for that breath. Maybe starting just to characterize that breath with a sense of affection. And if maybe that doesn't come easy to you, think of something or someone that you love very close to your heart. And with that same kind of feeling, see if you can interweave that feeling with the breath. I think it's quite habitual and conditioned in ourselves that we know how to be compassionate towards others. And maybe it's a little harder to be compassionate towards ourselves. So do feel free to cultivate that compassion through thinking of someone that you love or something that you have a lot of love for. And if you're connecting to that space, and don't worry if you're not, compassion is about not judging the quality of our experience to be feeling good. It's just about that intention that we're being kind to ourselves and that we're creating the space to experience for whatever it is, just as it is. So maybe it's just breathing. Maybe it is you are starting to connect to that feeling of compassion. Like I mentioned before, to me when I connect to compassion meditations, it actually feels quite sad. So whatever it is for you, it's not wrong and it's not right. It's just as it is individually to you. And if we are starting to connect to that affectionate breath, maybe you start to visualize a warm light at that heart center space, expanding as you breathe in, radiating as you breathe out. And again, approaching with compassion, it Doesn't matter if you're not connecting to this. It's not wrong, it's just a practice. So just breathing in and out if that's where you're at. And then in this space, you can feel free to stay here with this affectionate breath, with this breath of compassion. Or maybe you're still connecting, thinking of that loved one, to interweave that feeling with your breath. Or maybe you're just breathing. Or you can start to join me on an exercise which I learned from Kristen Neff, which she is a psychologist that pioneers in self-compassion, and it's called the self-compassion break. If you're in the space too, we work through difficult, challenging experiences to approach with compassion. Compassion with mindfulness, so being aware of what it is that we feel difficult, noticing that it's a sense of suffering, approaching with kindness to give ourselves the space that we need to process this, and affirming or giving ourselves the words that it's okay. And then the idea of common humanity, that suffering isn't just something that I feel, that you feel. It's something that we feel collectively. Everyone has felt suffering throughout their life. And that it's beyond us. It's an emotion that isn't just me and you. My suffering, your suffering. It's a collective emotion that a lot of us feel. So if you feel okay to, we will continue with this to find or think of something that maybe you're just feeling a little challenging at the moment, difficult, whether that be work, whether that be a relationship, whether that be family, whether that be something that you're working through. And try to choose something that you can sit with that isn't overwhelming, because if it's overwhelming, then our system gets just overwhelmed. It's too much to process, and then we can't do the practice. So do find something that is challenging but not too overwhelming. And how we might know that is if you just don't feel overwhelmed. And sometimes overwhelming may feel numbing. Maybe you notice how your body is feeling. Is it contracting? Is it not breathing? So maybe just start with something that feels difficult but not overwhelming. And then when you have that in your mind's eye, being aware that this is what suffering feels like. This is what uncomfortable discomfort feels like. And compassion isn't always fluffy and warm. Compassion is being able to sit with our truth, sit with our discomfort, knowing that we aren't judging whether it's good or bad, that we are observing to feel, experience like we did when we arrived. And with that awareness that I am suffering, approaching with the intention of kindness. And again, this might feel quite difficult, so if you want to, you can maybe imagine a very close friend, family member, loved one that's gone through this same difficult experience. What would you say to them? What advice would you give them? What space would you hold for them? Giving them a hug, giving them words of validation. It's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. We can't control. We actually don't have control of a lot of things. So let go of the things that we can't control. What would you say to that loved one? And then saying that towards yourself. The intention and that soothing to be kinder to ourselves. And if you haven't already, just placing that hand onto the heart. Maybe just holding your hands. You got a soothing touch. And maybe if you don't know what to say, can we maybe bring that affectionate breath back in? Can we breathe into that space of discomfort? Maybe if you're not aware, just take a moment. What is your body doing right now? Are you feeling your heart rate raise? Are you feeling a contraction in that heart space or throat space? Can we first just attend to those areas and breathe out, softening shoulders, breathe out, softening the throat. Create this space of kindness, soothing. And then can we maybe apply that affectionate breath, that compassion breath? Allowing this space just to, or make and create this space for whatever to arise, to just be as it is. And when you're ready, do feel free to pause this if you would like to sit here for longer. But if you're ready, we're going to bring it back to our breath. Maybe again visualizing that warm light at the heart center space. Collectively knowing that we're breathing here together, that we're doing this compassionate meditation together, that we're not the only ones that maybe are suffering through this, that are feeling these emotions, that are feeling this discomfort. And with this awareness, with this compassion, it gives us the space to grow. It gives us the space to attend to our wounds. Because without that awareness, how can we heal over something that we're not aware of? So we bring ourselves back to that common humanity, that shared experience, bigger than us. And as we then bring that awareness now to our breath again, maybe you're visualizing that light at the center of your heart space. Maybe the next time that you breathe in, you're feeling that space get brighter and warmer. And again, if you don't feel that you can connect to that sense of love for your loved one. Feeling that getting brighter and warmer. And then maybe as you breathe out, that warmth is starting to radiate outwards. Inhale, brighter and warmer. Exhale, radiating through the whole body. Now expanding out to a bigger sense of ourselves. Radiating outwards. And when you're ready to, taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. we start to wriggle fingers and wriggle toes. We start to bring a bit of movement to head. Feeling free to take any movement that feels good for you. Take a big stretch and do give yourself a big squeeze and hug. So if you lay down, maybe you hug the knees in. Maybe if you're sat down, you just wrap your arms around you. I'll share this quote with you from Kristen Neff. And it goes, "The quality of our practice isn't judged by feeling good. It's about setting our intention to be kinder to ourselves and then making space for whatever arises just to be as it is." To allow yourself to experience this without judgment, without that critical mind. Allowing it to process. Feel free to revisit this meditation whenever you have the space to. And I wish you well, a space of compassion. Maybe set something to do for yourself to be kind, something kind for you. Thank you for joining, and thank yourself for creating this space as well to do this processing. And I will see you and or hear from you soon. Take care. Bye.